Mike Warrington, City Council Member.
Jody O'Cady, City Council Member.
Ronnie Price.
Mayor.
Homer, City Council Member.
Phil Hamilton, City Council Member.
Tim Berry, City Council Member.
Bob Buchanan, Police Chief.
Rick Lyons, Director of Public Works and Utilities.
Andy Seville, Assistant Fire Chief.
Matt Kane, Finance Director.
JT Klaus, City Attorney.
Dana Engstrom, City Clerk.
Les Mangus, Director of Community Development.
Jolene Graham, Assistant City Administrator.
Jennifer McCausland, City Administrator.
All right, at this time, John Langley, East Point Church of Christ, is going to lead us in prayer. How you doing, sir?
Doing well.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. Let's pray. Father, I pray that tonight you will help our councilmen, council people to know that you have a heart for them, that you are seeking their best. And we pray, Father, that through that they will seek the best for our community. I pray your blessings upon them and ask you to give them a heart of compassion, a heart of wisdom, and a heart of truth. And may the meeting reflect that as well, that in every instance there will be compassion. In every situation, wisdom will prevail. And Father, we pray that truth will always be the base for what we do, what we say, and what we decide. Would you please bless this evening? And we ask it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
If you would join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, this time I'll open up the floor for public forum. If you'd like to share anything with us, say anything, state your name and give us your address, please.
My name is John Hope. My address is 302 Lexington Street. And I'm just here to publicly thank the first responders here at Andover. On April 30th, my house was struck by lightning, and the fire department of Andover, also assisted by Wichita and by Sedgwick County, and the Andover Police Department, was there within 5 minutes and kept me from losing everything. They were there from 6:30 till 10:30, briefed me on everything. The fire chief followed up with a call the next morning. The Red Cross, State Farm Insurance, everyone has been wonderful. Members of the Andover United Methodist Church, plus I'm a retired teacher from Derby, but my wife was on the Andover School Board for many years, and I know many of the Andover teachers, and they have been wonderful. And too often we get people complaining all the time, but I wanted to come and praise especially the fire department and police department, and what a wonderful job they did. Luckily, I was home, and there is about $30,000 damage, much of it electrical. That will all have to be replaced. And I'm living at the Hampton Inn over on Webb. And again, I just can't say how professional and how wonderful the job was. And of course, that storm, it was probably the last big one we had through here. And after watching people in Oklahoma and Nebraska, I wondered, how do they do it? Now I know, with the help of wonderful, wonderful professionals and wonderful, wonderful dear citizens and friends. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate that more than you can imagine. Thank you. Anyone else?
Chief Seville, can you make sure and relay that to the fire department? Thank you.
All right. Public forum is closed. Acceptance of agenda.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I move to accept the agenda as presented.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0. Award 7-1 Stormwater Scholarship Award, and Rick Lansworth is going to talk to us about this evening.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor and Council. So this is our 4th year of giving out a scholarship award for a Andover area student that is pursuing a career in environmental studies or water-related studies. This was born out of our latest stormwater permit and part of our outreach program that we have to do as part of our stormwater program. Our first year, we got 0 applicants. Our second and third year, we kind of twisted some arms to get some applicants. But I guess we're hitting our stride because it's our 4th year. We had 3 very, very, very qualified applicants. Jamie, would you please come up? And Matt, would you come up here, please? So Jamie Vinther is an Andover Central student and Andover resident, is our award recipient this year. I would read off all the accomplishments that Jamie has over the illustrious career of high school here, but they're pretty numerous and make me feel pretty bad about what I did in high school, to be quite honest. I will tell you that 10 different awards, including like English recognitions, math, science, and social study recognitions. That's all of them, right? I mean, it's a pretty good job. Leadership, a 4.2 cumulative GPA, top 10% of class. There's a lot there. What really got this person the scholarship was they were pursuing a career in environmental studies at Kansas State. They're going to go on to go through environmental engineering at Kansas State University. And their desire is to someday work at like the EPA with specific goals of improving all of our environments. Jamie, I would say that when you're running EPA in your near future, keep in mind Andover, we really try to do the right thing. So we really do. But EPA gets kind of a bad rap, I'll be honest. And but they're born out of a need, right? We do need to take care of our environment, and we only have so much water, so much soil, so much earth in this, So I will say that I'll close this up really quick because I told Jamie I'd do this really fast and get out of here. But it is honestly a nice to give this award, a scholarship to somebody that's pursuing something that what this scholarship is really invented for and determined to go for. And that is somebody's going to go into an environmental related field with the desire to do good. They're not pursuing this career for money purposes, for the purpose of doing good. So we got this really big check that said you can't take to the bank, but we will get your picture with this and get you out of here. You can do whatever you want.
All right. Consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I move to approve consent agenda items 8.1 through 8.6 as presented.
Second, Hamilton.
Any further questions or discussions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0. 991 Prairie Point at Cornerstone Third. Revised water and sanitary sewer petitions, developers agreement, and amending resolution of advisability. Jolene's going to talk to us on this.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Before you is a revised water and sanitary sewer petitions, developers agreement, and amending resolution of advisability for Prairie Point at Cornerstone Third Edition. In January, you accepted petitions, approved the developers agreement, and adopted a resolution of advisability. However, when the projects for sanitary sewer and water went out for bid, they came in higher than the engineer's estimate, and this necessitated the need for us to bring back these amended documents for you. And the petition amount was exceeded. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. The city attorney has reviewed the petitions and developers agreement and drafted the resolution of advisability.
Any questions?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I move to accept the revised petitions for water and sanitary sewer improvements, approve the developers agreement, and adopt amending amending resolution of advisability related to Prairie Point at Cornerstone Third.
Second.
Any further questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0. 9-2 Prairie Point at Cornerstone Third amended work ordinance, and Jolene again will speak to us on this.
Mayor and council members, this is related to your previous item, and it is also amending the work ordinance, which allows for the actual constructions of the improvements. You will see that the amounts are amended and the letters of credit or financial guarantee have been received by the city. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. The city attorney did prepare this amending ordinance and is also available for questions.
Anyone?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I move to adopt an amending ordinance authorizing the construction of certain internal improvements related to the Prairie Point at Cornerstone Third Edition.
Second, Hamilton.
Any further questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0. 9-3 bid award Prairie Point at Cornerstone, and Rick will follow up with this.
As Jolene had already covered, the bids were exceeding the petition limit, so you've already approved those. Needed action prior to actually awarding this project. Meese Construction, who does quite a bit of work in Andover, was the apparent low, or is the low bidder, and is who staff is recommending the award be given to. If anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to try to answer.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Rick, on the bid tabulation, why are some of the items redlined?
So this happens from time to time. There's math errors. Sometimes guys, in this particular case, one of them, they were transposing off something else and they had the right unit cost, but they didn't multiply didn't multiply it by the right amount of units. So thus they were the error. And on the other one where there's a red mark, they're off by $10. I think they just transposed the number or something like that. But what we do when they get the bids is the governing item in their price is actually unit cost. So we take the unit cost against the type number of units, get over to the extension, add the extensions up to get to the total. And that is what their bid is, regardless of what they wrote over there in extensions. It is what the units are. So it was tabulated. We generally send it back to them and say, is this what you really meant here? You know, just to make sure we don't have a big argument coming up or something. And it was, yes, we just made an error and took it times the wrong number of units.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I move to accept the low bid from Meese Construction of Wichita, Kansas for water line and sanitary sewer extensions, improvements to serve Prairie Point at Cornerstone Edition, in the not to exceed amount of $274,883, and authorize the mayor to sign the contract.
Second, Hamilton.
Any further questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0. Andover Business Improvement Grants, 10-1. David Westfall will talk to us about this. How are you doing, sir?
Well, how are you, Mr. Mayor?
Think you're good.
All right, well, good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. The Andover Business Improvement Grant Committee is comprised of Councilmember Homer Henry, Councilmember Phil Hamilton, Assistant City Administrator Jolene Graham, Community Development Director Les Mangus, Planning Technician Connor Boyd, and myself. Received and reviewed a total of 5 applications for the 2024 grant year. To analyze which submittals were most well-suited to receive grant funds, the committee adopted a scoring rubric with scores weighted to align with Andover's developmental goals. As a brief overview, the committee awarded the highest scores to submittals that contain placemaking features, projects that improve accessibility, the external facade of the structure, as well as site features for each of these projects. Projects that use mixed-use techniques that are also located along Andover Road were more heavily weighted in the committee's assessment. Of the $40,000 available in the funds, the committee recommends dispersing the funds as follows. To the future venue, which you see is let me back up a second, to the Andover United Methodist Church, which is our first exhibit here at 1429 North Andover Road. The committee recommends awarding the amount of $10,000. After continued community use as a polling location and emergency shelter, AUMC has demonstrated the desire to be a positive influence in the community. These improvements would bring the facility within ADA compliance. So during future use, the facility can be more inclusive. The reason the committee was unable to recommend supporting it with more funds is because this grant is focused primarily on the improvement of the exterior of businesses. And this $10,000 we have recommended is more aligned with the estimated amounts that would address exterior work that was proposed. All right, next we have the future venue at Redbud Crossing located at 1306 East 13th Street. The committee recommends rewarding this project to the amount of $5,000. The submittal would serve as a unique placemaking feature in Andover, while simultaneously bringing modern, accessible recreation to the community. The proposed development would be by appointment event facility that rents tents and space for parties. While this is a unique idea that can definitely engage the community, the lack of regular business hours makes it more difficult for the committee to recommend a larger award of funds at this time. And finally, we'll pull up our last recommendation. And then finally, to the future Point 9 Redbud Trail project located generally at 1539 North Andover Road, the committee recommends the award amount of $25,000. This project was most closely aligned with the intent of the ABIG goals and the Activate Andover Comprehensive Plan of 2024 to 2033. The potential for this submittal economically and socially for Andover is fantastic. The committee all is in agreement that this project would simultaneously satisfy many of the needs of the city that we're seeking to fill the coming years to create that third place that we've been so strongly desiring to be conducive to make it more connected, vibrant lifestyle that's accessible to all Andover residents. I'd be happy at this time to answer any questions or explain further.
Yeah, just out of curiosity, I think it's a good idea, but the venue at Redbud Crossing, do we know how many people will be able to hold it for a venue off the top of your head?
Not off the top of my head, I could defer to
That's-
Les. I don't know if you've.
Have they decided? I don't think they've decided.
They're working with an architect now to detail out a set of plans. I do not know what their proposed occupant load is.
Okay. Just curious, not important.
Well, they'll have 23 parking stalls.
They
They'll
actually,
have 23 parking stalls. That's not counting the on-street parking, right?
right. They have another 22 spaces on street parking.
So, I mean, that could be
Expected.
100 people, maybe.
Sure. And they expect to draw a good share of their business from the Redbud Trail from those who don't need a parking space. They'll have bike racks and direct access over to the trail.
Very good. Anyone else?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I move to accept the Andover Business Improvement Grant Committee recommendations for awarding grant funds to the 3 selected projects in the following amounts: $5,000 to the venue at Redbud Crossing, $10,000 to the United Methodist Church, and $25,000 to Point Nine Red Bud Trail Project.
Second.
Any further questions or discussion?
I have one, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Is it correct that they have to spend the money first and then we'll reimburse? Okay,
And it's matching funds.
it's matching.
So they have to
funds.
spend it at least double what we've awarded.
And they have to spend it on what they proposed, correct? Okay.
Yes, and then also by the end of the year, correct, Les? So 12/31/2024, it needs to be spent.
And just so everybody knows, because it's happened the last 2 years, if they don't do the improvements, which these three I'm sure will, it rolls into the next year's.
Correct. Okay.
So,
I just personally thought this was more for current businesses in Andover, on Andover Road, trying to get their businesses refreshed. I didn't realize this was like a new small business loan or new small business grant, or it's a new business grant for someplace that technically hasn't even opened yet. So.
all right. Any further questions or discussion?
I mean, Mayor,
Yes,
if I may. So Tim, on that, I think some of that discussion is there, as far as the grant and beautifying Andover Road, that discussion has come up. But it's also if those businesses fill out an application as well. I mean, we're not necessarily shutting it to anybody, but it's the applications that come in and how can we help those businesses that come in and ask for that grant. So.
And you're correct, in that usually it's for businesses on Andover Road, but we kind of turn a little bit because the bike path's going to be such a thoroughfare, if you will.
No, that business will be on Andover Road.
Right.
In the last couple of years, we've expanded it to not be the Andover Road Business Improvement Grant. It's expanded to be Andover Business Improvement Grant. So including
Red Bud Crossing is not going to be on.
Point nine will be
Andover
on.
Road.
Point Nine will be on
The,
Andover
the
Road.
venue
Correct.
will
The
not.
venue will not be.
Correct, and that's what I was referring to. So it usually,
Sorry.
So is that grant reworded now? I mean, it doesn't, because Tim is right that, this was intended for Andover Road businesses.
Don't say I'm right, Mike, because I don't know. I just.
So
No,
we
no,
presented
you are
to the,
correct.
we presented to the governing body at a workshop in 22 or 23. I would have to look back, where we felt the feedback we'd received resoundingly from the governing body was to expand that grant to Andover at large. You had businesses not on Andover Road interested. That name was changed last year to the Andover Business Improvement Grant. This is, I believe, the second year that this is not an Andover Road Business Improvement Grant. It's Andover Business Improvement Grant.
I guess my concern is that these businesses now, it is a matching fund. These businesses haven't drawn business into Andover. They haven't created any tax dollars for Andover yet. So I think that's why I feel a little funky giving tax dollars to a business that hasn't even opened its doors yet to bring tax dollars into Andover, if that makes any sense. So, I'll support it because, if it helps, but that's just kind of my, we're giving somebody tax, it's like a small business loan or small business grant to me more than trying to improve, Andover.
and part of the reason we just expanded it because of two businesses that were 100 yards off Andover Road weren't available. It wasn't available for them.
Correct.
So,
And I think my thought and approach was, even though they're not here yet, in order to get the grant, they actually have to start constructing to
Correct.
get the funds, which would eventually bring in some revenue. So that was kind of my approach to it.
all right. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0. Thank you all. 11/1/2024 Police and Fire Community Cookout Fireworks Display. And did I miss one? Daniel was going to speak to us about this. Hey, Daniel.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. As you might know, June 1 is the Police and Fire Community Cookout. Staff from those departments have been meeting through the committee and planning process to
finish the, sorry, I cleared my screen. To finish the details, as we're just a couple weeks out. For your consideration this evening is the approval of the fireworks display in Andover Central Park. This is intended to be done with Class C pyrotechnics, so this will not involve the closure of Yorktown Road. We will be doing this from the West Lake firing position that we have used in the past multiple times. The plan's been reviewed by your Fire Marshal Roosevelt, and the permitting and such is attached to your agenda item. Also, for your reference too, is the layout map. The Parks and Rec Public Works staff will work on providing the closure barricades for the evening of June 1st. And I can try to answer any questions if you have any.
Anyone?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I move to approve the discharge of fireworks at Andover Central Park on the evening of June 1st, 2024.
Second, O'Kady's.
That's coming up real soon. That's like 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Wow. I'm thinking June's like 3 months away.
Any further question or discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0. 12-1, excuse me, 12-1 city surveillance and access control purchases. And Neil will speak about this evening.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. For your consideration this evening is the final phase of proposals for the city's surveillance and access control project. To provide a short background for our newest council members, in July of 2023, we chose Pinnacle Fire and Automation as our preferred vendor for this project. Working with Pinnacle, we have completed the surveillance and access controls at both Fire Station 1 and 2, as well as the new 13th Street Sports Park. Surveillance has also been completed at City Hall and the Police Department. And with your approval this evening, we would like to complete access controls at the police and waste departments, as well as surveillance and access control at streets, parks, and the golf facility. Total cost to complete the project is $91,840, of which the IT department will cover $84,920 using funds from the approved 2024 budget. The wastewater department will cover the cost of their portion of access controls. That amounts $6,920 using the proprietary sewer utility fund. And at this point, I'd like to answer any questions if you have them.
Right, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I think it should be commended and pointed out, Neil, that this project was originally expected to take 2 to 3 years, and it will be completed in just over a year. And I think some of that has to do with what the IT department has done with getting us to do the IT stuff in-house, if you will, and not from a third party, and bringing that in. And while it might not be a line item savings per se, we can do more things with those funds, bringing that stuff in-house. So I think it's a great job, and kudos to you on that.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I move to accept the proposals from Pinnacle Fire and Automation, Wichita, Kansas, in the amount not to exceed of $91,840.
Second, Barry.
Further questions or discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0. Thank you, Neil. 13-1 CAD RMS contract approval, and Becky is going to speak with us about this tonight. How are you, ma'am? All right.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council.
Evening.
In front of you is a contract to replace our current CAD and RMS system, which is Global Technologies, with Central Square Technologies. This is first brought up in 2019 and was tabled at the time. And we were able to stumble upon a COPS grant for enhancing 911 technology. So the cost of the replacement for the CAD and RMS system is 100% covered under this $358,000 grant that the police department was awarded. There's a lot of new technology that we have not been able to use for fire, police, and 911 because of our aging system. One of them I'd like to point out is with the fire department, we can actually track AVL again in their vehicles, which will help us when we do the, I think it's a biannual review for our ISO for insurance ratings. Historically, we've always gotten counted down for that because we didn't have AVL ability, excuse me, for the fire department like we did in the police department.
What's AVL?
It's where we track their vehicles. Where we can track them and figure out where they've been and the speed they're going and all that. They didn't have computers in the cars. They use tablets, iOS devices, and the system allows us to do AVL on the iOS device itself. Along with that capability, it gives us updated mapping features and address verification. Our current system, we haven't been able to update any addresses or maps since 2015. Anytime we try to do an upload, it crashes the system. So we have not been able to verify or update any new streets since 2015. And you can only imagine how many that has been. This actually links into the NG 911 phone system that we have. So you use the phone system and this CAD system to verify the address and also gives responders turn-by-turn directions, how to get to their calls for service, especially on the new streets that they don't even know where they are yet. So, and I have the capability to update either it myself monthly or we can have them do it quarterly. As fast as we are growing new streets, I will probably just be doing it monthly so we can keep that updated. The selection committee that we formed, we looked at 3 different CAD and RMS vendors. Out of the 3, Central Square came in with the lowest initial cost, but their maintenance is a little bit higher than the other 2 vendors. One vendor was voted in 3rd after talking to many Kansas law enforcement agencies. They had a lot of problems with this vendor and their support, their products not working across the board like they were supposed to. So already knowing that that vendor was not operational in the state of Kansas, that one was very quickly turned down from the committee. The second vendor, which was Pro Phoenix, they came in very close to Central Square, but when doing research on them, it was kind of the same thing. Their systems didn't work as fluently as it was supposed to, and their technical support is not within the US. All their technical support is in, I believe it was India, and you just call a number. So already having problems with a vendor that we can't get any support out of, we didn't want to go with a vendor that was going to cause us potential problems with getting support whenever we needed it. The initial cost for Central Square for the first year cost is $285,837. Within working with the contracts, since we have a grant for $358,000, we had made some negotiations. We're going to pay them $358,000 upfront as we do this and implement it with permission for exchange of a lower cost in our annual maintenance from years 2 through 10. and meaning we won't spend any money out of PD, fire, or the 911 budget until 2026. So all this will be taken care of for the rest of this year and then 2025. The breakdown on Central Square's 10-year pricing plan is your E911 state funds will pay at 43%, PD will pay 49%, and the fire department will pay 8%. The fire departments in the past, with not having the AVL, I haven't had to worry about trying to split their costs. Plus, they're going to have an interface that goes from this CAD system to their records management, which will save them time on doing their reports. Then they haven't had that since I've been here. So, and it's almost 10 years. So excited for some of the future goals with this system. I'm open to any questions.
Go ahead.
I don't have any questions, but I do have a statement. This is a good opportunity to let people know that the Citizens Academy is starting in July. And the reason I bring it up is because I didn't understand how much work dispatchers do. I was delusional. They're not sitting in there eating pizza, drinking soda pops. They stay extremely busy. And then the whole class is worthy to attend, but it was eye-opening to me how on point you have to be all shift long. So I just want to take our opportunity to say thank you to the dispatchers and the work they do. And the night of the tornado, that young lady was under a lot of pressure. And in fact, she was part of the thing today. And it's just amazing what she did with what she had to work with, you know. But yes, again, I took the police academy. I think several of the council members in the past have taken it. And you have to be 18 years old.
18 years old with a high school diploma. And high school diploma.
And you're not too old, whoever you are. So take it. It's enjoyable, and it's really changes your whole view on what police officers do from the time they get on shift to the time they go home. All right.
Thank you, Mayor.
I just want to piggyback on that. There was a training today, and I actually got to be a part of it, and I felt very honored to be a part of it. But to see the men and women and the professionalism and how they handled this training does not surprise me that what the gentleman said earlier. We have absolutely the best, and I was very grateful to be a part of it, but also just to be able to witness and the professionalism of our departments here.
The police and fire, right?
Yep.
Is
And EMS,
EMS.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Becky, in regards to the grant, remind me again where that grant came from and how we received that?
So the grant is from the Office of Community Oriented Policing Services, or COPS. And the grant title is Technology Equipment for Projects for 911 Service Technology Updates. Chief Buchanan actually stumbled across this and said, hey, we need to put an application in. So we worked together to get something put in. He did the initial legwork, and then I wrote all the stuff up, and we were lucky enough to get awarded the $358,000 for it.
Well, you guys should both be commended for that as well, to have something that right now on inception isn't costing us money until 2026. And then what is going to be that ongoing cost 2026 on?
So 2026 through 20.
It was in here, but I lost.
Yeah, 2026 through 2029. It is 861. Sorry, there's a nat. And then from after year 5, which is 2029, then it goes up 5% each year from there.
If I'd like to say something on she's being very humble about this. She did a lot of work for this grant. It was not trying to be political, but it was Senator Moran's office. A young student, was a Central High School graduate, stopped by after I got promoted to chief, just to see what we needed. And I just threw it out there. Hey, I need a lot of money. And just Becky or Jenny called me and said, hey, they want to do an interview with you on the news because you got some grant. I didn't know about a grant. So that's the work I did. It was just, here's $358,000. She worked a lot of work, and Matt's having to do it now. There's a lot that went into it. So it was their work that did it. Mine was just the grace of God and someone showed up. That's all it was.
And then is there any interest in the future as far as the fire department you mentioned ties into theirs, but will we ever eventually just have one then? Or does fire have to be different from police?
Well, currently there's only, I believe, 4 fire RMS systems. That's not as popular as law enforcement.
Okay.
So that it just requires an interface to whichever one they go with. I know that the one they're currently using is going to be sunsetting. So I know that Chief Russell's looking at which next system he wants to go with. Central Square does have interfaces with all the available interfaces to CAD and RMS, or for fire CAD.
Thank you.
I do have one question, but what does the subscription cost get us, I guess? Just the use of it? Or, I mean, it looks like we're buying all the hardware. So is that just IT, having them help us if something goes
So
wrong? Or-
what we're getting in this solution is we're going to have 2 servers. I'm sorry, we're going to have 3 servers. We're going to have the server that's the live server. We're going to have a training server. So when we have new officers, new dispatchers come in, we can actually train them on a server and not junk up our information that we have. And then we're going to have a warm standby server, which backs up all the time. So if something were to go down, we have that information backed up on site. Central Square pays for the servers and all the maintenance to their servers. We just store them in the police department. And then
So
also,
is that the cost? I mean, so I guess my question is, what's the subscription cost for?
so the subscription is for your CAD, your RMS. We've got, well, there's CAD, there's RMS, there's interfaces. Like, for instance, we've used Beast for our evidence. And for the first time, we can actually tie our evidence into our RMS.
So it's just making sure the software is correct, it's updated,
The software is correct,
fresh.
it's updated. We actually can merge 100% of our current data. Some of the other ones can only go back 10 years. So that means you have to have 2 systems up and running, which isn't very cost effective if you want to get to information older than 10 years.
And I guess my question might be for Neil, since he's sitting back there. How does this work? I mean, we've all heard about the city of Wichita's huge hijack and hacking. Since they're going to have 3 separate servers, is that going to be protected? And I mean, if they get into those servers, is it going to be able to get into our main servers, or?
The servers that they're offering it's one physical server.
Okay.
Neil, can you come to the podium so we can hear you for recording purposes?
So what they're offering is one physical server, 3 virtuals running on that server. That will actually be, you had asked him about the maintenance and what that's for. And I was really hoping to speak up to that also includes the server maintenance hardware wise.
Okay.
I inquired as to what happens at 5 years, and they said that they've never charged anyone for a replacement.
For a
The
new
server's
server.
covered for 5. But they've said as long as you're paying for the service and paying for the subscription, if there's any hardware issues after 5 years, they continue to do it. It is quite a load off of IT as well. They'll do all the backups, everything. It'll all be off site. So
For
it saves us a lot of
technical
room
help.
and a lot of time.
So with the subscription, it's also include technical help too. If we have something go wrong in a car, they can walk Cindy or whomever through it to get it.
If it's related to this software,
Correct,
yes.
correct.
If it's tablet or something like that, it's us. But yeah, it's going to be a big load off of IT.
Okay. And you have no concerns with this company
None.
about security, safety, hacking, anything like that?
Nope. Sat in on the meeting with them, and I've talked to him a couple times since. It's
awesome.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Oh, did you have
Go
a
ahead.
question?
No, go ahead.
I move we approve Central Square Technologies contract for the Andover Police Department's computer aided dispatch CAD and records management software system.
Second.
Okay. Or Homer.
No, go ahead.
Any further questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0. Great work, Becky. Thank you.
Thank you.
14-1, amending a resolution for AV Apartment LLC, and Jenny is going to speak to us about this.
Yes, sir. Mr. Mayor and Council, before you tonight is a amending resolution for AV Apartments. As you may recall, in May of 2022, the governing body, and some of you were not a member at that time, so you may not remember. In May of 2022, the governing body approved a resolution of intent to issue IRB financing. Later in July, it was determined that would also include a property tax abatement, as well as the sales tax exemption. These are for the apartments. The site plan before you is the most current site plan, but these are the apartments at US 54 in Onewood. Since that time, the ownership has changed of AV Apartments LLC. So at the time that the resolution was adopted, there was a 2-year requirement that a building permit be pulled in order for that resolution of intent to still be in effect. That date is rapidly around the corner, May 24th of 2024. Les is working with the applicant and they are close, but we do not know that the building permit will be pulled in the next 11 days. So what you have before you tonight is to amend that resolution to allow that expiration to go out to August 1st. We think that should be ample time for the building permit to be pulled. And I do want to note that that may be for phase 1, that there is the likelihood that this will be done in 2 phases with approximately 1 year in between the phases. Les is working with the applicant in considerable detail at this time. If you have questions about that, your bond counsel did provide the amended resolution of advisability, and any of us would be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
If I remember correctly, they did say they were going to do phase 1, and when it was 65% saturated, then they would start phase 2. Is that still the plan, or do you know?
He hasn't talked about a percentage. He's talked about a year.
Okay.
To get the first phase, approximately a year ahead of the second phase.
Okay. Good enough. Anyone else? Can I get a motion?
So I have one
Oh, I'm sorry,
question.
Tim.
Sorry. So Jenny or Les, what happens if he doesn't get the permit pulled by August 1st? Does this just kind of go away and then we have to go through the whole process again?
I would suppose that we would either bring you another amending resolution of which you have the option and the choice to vote for or against, or if that date comes and nothing has been brought to you, then it does expire.
And it's my understanding that these gentlemen or this team is very reputable, aren't they?
They are. I think I heard that they have 7 apartment complexes going on around the Midwest. Right now, the holdup is the approval of the building plans. There were a few changes made that the architect had to respond to before he made submittals for plan review.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Jenny, you said advisability, but it doesn't say advisability anywhere on here. Do we need to put that in the motion or anything?
No, I don't recall her saying that. If she did, she just misspoke. It's
Oh, maybe.
it's an inducement resolution, a resolution of intent to issue the bonds.
Mr. Mayor?
So Les, did you just say that it's our planning, or is it our site planning, or that's holding this process up? Is that?
No, it's the architect.
The architect.
The
Okay.
owner made some changes in the layout, and the architect hasn't responded yet with the latest set of plans.
Okay. Thank you.
One of the things that they didn't want to do that the prior folks wanted to do is have an indoor pool, and they wanted to change that. And that's probably just one of the few things that they're redoing.
That was the only change that was submitted recently, was to change to an outdoor pool.
Okay.
Yeah, Tim, SPT has their hands in a lot of stuff. So I'm sure they're probably not jumping at it to get it done tomorrow. So, I'm assuming it'll take several weeks or more.
We hope to have those plans approved by the end of the week.
Okay, so you will have it. Okay.
And this won't interfere with any of the construction going on for Founders Parkway that they're working on right now, right?
Actually, the two projects were meant to work hand in hand.
Gotcha.
And there doesn't need to be I see on these plans, it says Buffalo Ridge, but then we're talking about AV. Is that because we awarded it to AV originally, and then this is, since it's the sale, this is the new name? But we're still going to put it as the AV?
Actually, the membership units were acquired and the name of the entity is still AV Apartments. They're planning to do business as Buffalo Ridge as a DBA, not unlike
multiple places.
I think Andover Apartments 2 LLC does business as Sunstone.
I'm assuming the Buffalo Ridge is probably just the name of the apartment complex. You know, not the owner name.
Oh, gotcha. Gotcha.
DBA, right?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
I move to adopt a resolution amending resolution number 22-1-12 regarding the intent of the governing body of the city of Andover, Kansas to issue certain taxable industrial revenue bonds in an aggregate principal amount of not to exceed $40 million for the purpose of purchasing, acquiring, constructing, furnishing, and equipping a commercial facility in one or more phases in Andover, Kansas.
Second, Hanson.
Any further questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0. 15-1, land acquisition KSA 75-4319B6.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
I move to recess into the executive session for preliminary discussions relating to the acquisition of real property per KSA 75-4319B6. Session to include governing body, city attorney, city administrator, community development director, and assistant city administrator. The open meeting will resume at 8:02 p.m.
Second.
Any further questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0. Can I get a motion to come out of session?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0. Member items, and I will start to the right with Mr. Barry.
Oh, man, I get to start. I don't have a whole lot. I just want to congratulate all the high school seniors who actually, they've already graduated. The Trojans and the Jaguars. It's amazing. It's amazing to see the future of the world, and it's cool to see them graduate. And I'll have another one here in a few years, but it's just kind of cool to see the kids graduate and moving on to the next step. So that's really all I have.
I've got a few. The YMCA opens next Monday. On Friday, there's an open house from 10 to 7 where you can go walk around, check it out. And then Saturday, 8 to 1 and Sunday, 1 to 5, their lobby will be open to go see what classes they have to offer. If you need a membership, they'll be lobby only before it opens on Monday. I spent the weekend. We hosted the state boys 5A tennis tournament. Andover Central ended up getting second place as a team. They only got beat by 1 point by Blue Valley, which was kind of a bummer. But our doubles team got second, 10th, and singles got 6th. So pretty good showing. Tomorrow night's the Board of Education Outstanding Service Awards, and our fire department is getting the Golden Key at 7 o'clock. So that'll be super cool to see them get that. Sunday at 6 is the movie in the park, and I believe it's Wonka, the new one that will be showing. And then May 23rd at 4 o'clock is the ribbon cutting for Sunlight Thrift Boutique.
Thanks, Phil. June 1st, along with the police and fire cookout and firework display, June 1st is the Andover Citywide Garage Sale. If your address so chooses to have participate in the garage sale, please email the chamber your address and they'll put you on the Andover Citywide Garage Sale map. And that's all I have.
All right. I want to give a shout out to a young man that gave a commencement speech at Central. His name is Trevor Sagehorn. And man, it really moved me to see somebody at that age have that much vision of where the young folks of this country need to go and how they need to get there. He stated that they all have the same opportunity to succeed or fail. And he went much more into that. And it really impressed me so much that I reached out to get in contact with him and request a copy of it, because it just was very moving to know that when I'm no longer here, we're in good hands. So it's just thank you, Trevor.
Nothing tonight.
I just wanted to say thank you to the police department, the fire department, EMS, city employees with the active shooter drill today. I think a couple other council members talked about it, but it was very impressive the way it was handled. It's a tough subject and unfortunate situation that we have to deal with, but I was able to just sit back and really watch and observe, and I was very impressed all the way around. So thank you very much.
And they managed to keep me on point for
Alive.
4 hours. So it's not an easy task. So I had to be serious for 4 hours because they were serious, and it truly was a great afternoon for our whole staff and police department all involved. All right. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second, somebody?
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0.